dare you?
So a few months ago I was at my garage in my van and it started running really bad, just blowing smoke and running really rough. It sounded like it had a cam in it and some sort of aggressive tune with a big turbo. The van's been pretty much undrivable since then, so today we're going to replace the injectors and also do the glow plug since we're there. I am by no means a diesel mechanic, but it seemed like a lot of the PowerStroke videos that I watched to try to get some tips on this sucked. No offense to anybody who made any of those videos, but a lot of them have been recorded on potatoes, I guess. They're older videos. This is an older truck. It's 21 years old now. So I thought maybe I could do a video and give people some helpful hints and tips. Maybe help you out a little bit with this really rough job. So for starters, you're going to need a lot of ratchets and sockets and extensions. Make sure you have some swivels. This is a really hard job on this van. It's not going to be an easy day for you. In fact, it's taken a couple days for me. Another thing that I would recommend is just getting a new wire harness slash gasket for the valve covers, because I thought mine was fine and it really wasn't, and I had to wait a couple extra days to get that piece. It's going to be recorded a little bit weird because this was such a dirty job that I didn't want to use a lot of my cameras on it, and also I couldn't get a camera in certain spots to even do this. You have to do it basically blindfolded and kind of feel your way around the injectors to get them out. Even getting the valve covers off, you just got to be able to feel the bolt head and throw a socket on it and then blindly take it off. I'm not sure what a shop would charge you to do this, but I imagine it's very expensive. So if you want to do it yourself, by all means try it. Just make sure you have a lot of tools handy and make sure that you also have some beer on tap, because you're going to want to drink a lot of beer on this one. At least I did, because it sucked and it's hot out and I got a headache. So some specialty tools that you might need are some swivels. Harbor Freight has a ratchet that has a swivel head on it that came in handy a lot. It's really long and it's just one of my favorite tools right now. You're also going to need a T20 Torx head socket and also just a T20 tip. You're going to need to take apart the number 3 injector when you're doing this to even get it out. So you're going to need that T20 Torx bit. Or it might have been a T25. I forgot to remember. Another thing that you're going to need is a piece of 1/4-inch rubber hose to get the glow plugs out. You can break the glow plugs loose with a 10mm socket, but it's really hard to get them out once you break them loose and get them unthreaded. So you got to take a 1/4-inch piece of hose and kind of put that on top of the glow plug, and then you can fish it out. Same thing for when you put the glow plugs back in. You use the 1/4-inch hose to kind of throw it on the end of the glow plug, and then you can kind of dip it in there and then screw it by hand and then actually get a socket on there. Also, another thing that I really recommend is getting a magnetic pickup tool from Harbor Freight, because you're going to drop a lot of sockets and ratchets, and if you don't have a pickup tool, you're never going to get them back. There's a lot of crevices under this fan where stuff gets stuck, so make sure that you have one just laying around so you can just, put the pickup tool out and grab it real quick. I'll try to give you some more pointers as we go along, and if you do this, just be safe. Make sure you disconnect the battery first before anything, and let's get started. Been putting this one off for a while, and this is going to be a dirty job, so I'm going to record most of this on my DJI Action. So this is my van, and I think we got some bad injectors. So we packed up a bunch of tools from the garage, and we're going to do this outside because I can't drive it to the garage. This is really going to suck because most of the motor is underneath of this cover right here. So we're going to pull this out. I'm trying to do some of it from under the hood, some of it through here, and I guess meet in the middle, and hopefully figure out what's wrong and then get it fixed, because I really miss my van and I need to be able to move some stuff and tow some cars very soon. So diesels are very dirty to begin with, and pretty sure the batteries are dead on this anyway, but we're still going to disconnect the batteries and then start ripping all this stuff out. It's going to be a long day, and hopefully we can get this thing done relatively soon. I'm probably going to have gray hair and be like 20 pounds heavier by the end of this, and I'm probably going to get sunburned because it's bright out and sunny. Let's see how it goes. So I'm not even sure where to start on this yet, but I think we're going to take the whole intake off just to give us some front access, and then we're going to try to hit most of it from the inside compartment. As you can see, most of the motor is going to be accessible from under here. You can see this big heat blanket. We're going to have to take this off. Looks like it's bolted right here. I guess we'll look at the turbo, make sure that that's all cool, and then I'll try to get the valve covers off. And it's going to suck. I'd hire somebody to do this, but I'm broke and I refuse to pay for anything. Looks like the exhaust might have been replaced at some point. Or is that factory? I don't know. Whatever. Good thing we brought all our tools. We're gonna need them. Looks like there's one on the back. A big old turbski. It seems like everything's alright on the harnesses. I know that sometimes where they go into the valve cover can be messed up, so we're going to inspect all that. It looks like we are going to have to take the intake off on this side, and that might help us get in here a little bit. Really, I mean, the valve covers are so close but so far, so we're going to see how it goes. Dirty. Many hours later, probably missed a lot of that because the battery died. The valve covers are pretty loose now. We used a combination of ratchets, sockets, extensions. Everything was 13mm. There was a couple studs that hold stuff on, like the dipstick, and some of the bracing on the driver's side. This isn't an easy job by any means. We actually got one of the bolts from inside the fender liner kind of area. Back in there, we got that bolt out. That was a pain in the ass. But now it should finally be loose and we can get the valve covers off and kind of inspect what we got going on. We're going to inspect everything before we actually buy the injectors. We're going to cover everything up pretty nicely overnight and then make a decision on what to do, because injectors are expensive. And I want to see if this is 100% the problem. One of the viewers of the YouTube short said that it could be the wire harness that's messed up, so we're going to look at the harness that's inside the valve cover and see if that's fried. That was the last stud. Nothing I can see that's like really odd, except that this side is a little more oily than the driver's side. Driver's side looks a little less oily. Not sure if that means anything. Maybe these injectors are newer. For the most part, it seems like the harness is alright. Did a brief little check of that, and that seems fine. Didn't check for continuity or anything, but it looks like everything's connected. So from here, I think we might try to pull one just to see what happens. Just to inspect it a little bit, maybe get it out, and maybe we'll try to find like the dirtiest one. And it is a little concerning that that side's a little oilier, but I don't know what that means really. I don't know anything about diesels. I guess you can check injectors by running the motor without the covers on and seeing if oil squirts through, I guess, the discharge port on the injector, but I'm not doing that because I'm scared and I don't want to die. If you're doing this, don't get dirt inside your head. There's a lot of dirt out here. So when we were taking everything apart, I started with the driver's side and the harness looked alright. But when I got to the passenger side, the harness was actually cracked in a couple spots. That might have been one of our issues, I'm not sure. But this wound up taking a couple days extra because I had to order this and then had to come in. I got this from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below to these. I definitely recommend that you replace these gaskets because of the harness issue. These had pretty good reviews, and it actually comes with the pigtail for the other side. If you have a cracked harness like on the motor side of the harness, you can go ahead and replace that, and it even comes with butt splices. But we're just going to try to do the gasket with the harness built in because that was our only issue. It looked like this side of the harness was okay, so we're just going to replace these. So to pull the injectors out, what you're going to want to do is take an 8mm socket and loosen this bolt up on the back. Once you loosen this up, you can slide this mount forward and pop these out. It does take a little bit of prying to get them out. The seals on these diesel injectors are really strong, so what you want to do is pry against the mount itself. Don't pry against the plastic or anything, or you could crack the top of the injectors, and that would be an expensive fix. When you pull the injector out, the oil and the gas is going to go into your cylinders, and when that happens, you're going to have to get that out. So a really important step is to take the glow plugs out and spin the motor by hand. The front crank bolt's going to be a 15/16 socket. You just go under there, spin the motor a couple times, and then all that oil and fuel will go through the glow plug holes. It's going to be a little hard to spin the motor by hand, but it's a necessary step. If you don't do that, you could potentially destroy your motor. So make sure you get all that oil out by leaving those glow plugs out. Most of the oil and the fuel is going to be towards the rear of the motor. You could potentially throw something in there and try to suck it out, but this glow plug trick seems to work pretty well from what I've read and what I've seen online. I'm going to try to pull this one since it's easy to get to. Another good tip for the glow plugs is to use a piece of 1/4" hose. This will go on the end of the glow plug and allow you to kind of thread it into the head a little bit better. It's really hard to get a socket in there, so you want to spin this, get it kind of hand tight, and then throw a socket on it. The hose also makes it easier to remove the glow plugs if you have some trouble getting those out. I was able to get my hand on most of them. You can also use a magnet to get them out, but to get them back on, you really want to use this hose. It's kind of impossible to get a deep socket in there. Once you get it hand tight, you can go ahead and throw a deep socket on. 1/4" ratchet with a 10mm deep is going to be pretty good for that. With the number 3 injector, which is that one up there, you actually got to take the injector apart to even get it out because it's so tight to that firewall area. And all that insulation is going to be fiberglass based because I can feel it in my arms still, and it's been a few days. To get them loose, you can use a small socket. It's going to be a T25, I think. To get to the Torx heads that are on that side of the injector, you actually got to take just a bit and a pair of vice grips, and you can tighten them up that way. It's pretty much the only way to do this that I can think of. You just get them hand tight and then tighten them up with the socket. Make sure you put the injector back together the right way too when you do this. So we got everything back together, and I'm going to try to start it for the first time, and had to put the charger on it because this battery is like dead. Hopefully it has enough juice now. It's been a few hours. I think I got everything hooked up right, and hopefully this goes well, hopefully. And I did put the cover back in the van in case the motor blows up, you know, because it's plastic and everything. I'm sure that'll be a nice protection. But yeah, I'm going to try to give it a go. We wound up going to Wally World and bought a completely new battery because the other one was not holding a charge. You can see this thing was kind of old. And just like everything else on this van, it wasn't the right part. This has 650 cold cranking amps, and it's supposed to be 850 according to the interwebs. So let's see how it goes now. I only bought the one battery. I'm not sure if the other one's bad. I know you're supposed to replace them in pairs and everything, but I didn't really want to spend another $100 today. So yeah, we'll probably go back and get another one tomorrow or next week or something. I don't know. Let's try this again. And then the rail's got to get some fuel in them and stuff, and oil. Let's get oil pressure. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to bring the charger back out and start charging this. I looked on a few forum articles and it doesn't seem like anybody knows how to solve this issue except for starting it for, I don't know, I guess hours and hours and hours. Apparently air can get in the rails and it takes some time to burp it out. And I guess the only way to do that is to just keep starting it, I hope. Let's give the starter a minute to cool down. And then we're probably gonna have to grab the battery charger, I think, maybe. Yep. God damn it.
A few minutes later.
So I started it up again and it's smoking a little, but it's fine. I have no idea. I have no idea what's up. I guess it's fine. It's running like crap, but I need to move it forward again. Sorry, neighbors. So that's it for the video. I'm not sure what the problem is now. It cleared up for a little bit and ran fine, and now it's back to running like crap. I guess we're gonna look at the injection pump regulator. I feel like it's getting too much pressure. I really need to just buy some sort of diagnostic tools, but they're expensive and I'm really trying to save money on this. It's an old truck. I don't want to spend $1,000 trying to fix it, but it looks like I'm gonna have to. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I hope this video helped you out a little bit. If it did help you out, maybe consider liking and subscribing, possibly. I'm probably going to do 1 or 2 more videos on the diesel van, and if I don't fix it, I'm just going to, I don't know, sell it or junk it or something. Just kidding. I really like this van, and I really want it to run better. And I need it to tow trailers and stuff. So, yeah. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you soon.